trying to plan out the electrical cabinet. What I did was I went around and measured a bunch of the pieces, parts and pieces that I'm going to have in there. And I started with, these 5, and then kind of moved them around a little bit, and then I realized that these other 3 pieces would be really important and conveniently located if they were next to one another. So I think this is kind of like the first step of any electrical cabinet that's well laid out. You have to measure all the pieces and do a layout. This bottom one, I would say 1. But there's even one more piece, which I'll show you. Okay, here we have it. So you can see it closely resembles the layout picture. I had to turn that. It was kind of 90 degrees. I turned that. I added a ground bus bar and a Bluetooth receiver for the Victron MPPT, but all these things, all these guys are upside down. The wiring just made more sense to do it this way. These 2 guys up here, I run a 24 volt system, so these have to convert the voltage back down to 12 volt levels. I'll go into this when it's laid out, but what I wanted to do before then was I'd never really seen anyone do like large wire lugs, and so I kind of got a crash course in that when I bought some of my batteries. The guy at the store was nice enough to show me, so I'll show you guys. Basically, you're going to get a tool similar to this one, and you can see that it's preloaded with a lug, but it's basically just a big smasher, and it just smashes the lug. On the opposite side of this, there's a scale down at the bottom. Hard to read, but this is a scale that says how big are your lugs, and depending on how big your lugs are, you can screw this knob in and out, and it will pinch it tighter or looser. And so the lugs that you buy, generally speaking, I buy the 3/8 lug, and then I use a washer on smaller posts to suck up some of that slop and get good conductivity to the underlying pad. But going with a larger lug size allows me to just use one lug size instead of many different kind. So this is a 3/8 stud, 3/8 inch stud, and then the size of the actual lug wire piece, it depends on the wire that you're using, and I'm using 6-gauge wire, and so I got 6-gauge lugs. This is a 6-gauge opening, and I have one in here. So generally what I do is I kind of stick the lug in there, and then I just hold it in place by gently pressing on it like that. And then I'm going to see if I can just set this here. It's going to be hard. So I have a stripped end, and you just stick that in there, and you try to make sure. This is one thing that I didn't really get one time was, so you kind of want the lugs to be in the right orientation, otherwise you're going to have trouble once you're trying to mount them onto these posts. And all my posts are vertical, so these lugs should be lined up with one another. So you just give a little twist like that, and then you smash it. Give it a smash, and voila, you have your post on there. I see I preloaded it with some shrink wrap, shrink wrap, and then I'm going to hit the hot air gun, move it all the way to the end, move it all the way to the end, and away we go. So just stick that in front there, roll it around a little. Might take a little bit for this hot air gun to get going. As you can see, it's already kind of doing its thing. Voila. Do the other side and you're done. I forgot to mention that I'm using 1/4 inch washers. So that seems to work okay. And sometimes I found that these switches don't come with washers, so it's nice to have a washer around to help take that slack out. It comes with a lock washer, but anyway, you get the point. The DC control panel is now mounted in the van, and I'll show you how that works. But this is with it all bolted up tight to the wall. And to unbolt it, you just undo the top 2 1/4 inch screws there, right there, and then on the bottom I have hinges that come up from the bottom, here, here, and here, so 3 hinges, and then the whole thing will come down and show you the wires in the back. Yeah, so I undid the top 2 bolts, and then the whole thing folds down, and you can see there's, you know, a rat's nest, which we're effectively hiding. Up here, I'm using machine thread screws on the top, and so you need inserts, threaded inserts on the wood. Nothing to really see back here other than you know, a lot of these cables can be longer. And if they are, you can hide them, tuck them into that cavity in the wall. It's not gonna hurt them if they get hot or cold. So that's what it looks like installed. You can also see, I think now that I have the wall off, you can see that I have these gutters. Maybe I already brought those up, but I used downspout gutters to kind of keep a space where I can fish wires through the walls. And you can see all of the wires that I have hooked up now are for the wall on the other side. So they go up the wall, they go across the ceiling, there's a break there, you can see the fantastic fan wire power coming out of there. They go across, they come down on this side, and then once again they feed through some more gutter. And then in my ultimate plan, all of these cables will be given a proper power point. I'm calling it a power point, where the cabinetry and lights and everything will hook into it. I'm not doing any lights like those puck lights up in the top. I think that indirect lighting is a little better than just having those shine down on the top of your head. It's not my fave. So anyway, I'm going to consider this DC panel done for now, and move on to the next project.